Whoops. Hello and welcome to All Hands on Tech Live. I'm Jeremy Morgan. See that? Isn't that cool? Isn't that awesome? So I'm a senior developer evangelist here at Pluralsight, and today for All Hands on Tech Live, we are going to continue to build video games in JavaScript. So if you haven't watched this stream before, we went through some tutorials using Phaser.js, and today we're going to do the same thing. We're going to basically create a game from scratch. I don't know how far we'll get, but we're going to introduce some sprites. We're going to kind of build a single level of a side scroller, like I guess it's a platformer is what they're called. But it's like a side scrolling game like Mario Brothers or something like that. And we're going to put that together today, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. And thank you all for joining us. We are live right now on YouTube and LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. But as a reminder, we always stream on Twitch. So be sure to follow us there. So, I mean, let's just jump right in. So I've got Visual Studio Code open here, and I just have a blank folder. So when I say we're starting from scratch, we are very much starting from scratch. So jump in here, do my quick tech check just to make sure. Hello from Nigeria. Hello, Mohammed Shariful. We've got a Bangladesh. Got people from all over the world today. That's one of the coolest things about streaming. In my opinion, is being able to reach people all over the world doing cool, fun stuff. So we'll get this thing loaded up here. And the first thing I'm going to do is just an npm init. Okay, and our package name is going to be Phaseboy version 1. I'll use the proper term here. Platformer JavaScript game. Hello from the UK. Thank you very much for joining us today. Entry point, we're going to say game.js. Is this okay? Yes. Okay, so now we've got a package JSON here, and we need to install Phaser. So that's npm I, and we're going to install the Phaser library. So we're using Phaser today, which actually I'll bring up this other browser here, Phaser.io. And this is the JavaScript framework that we've been working on in our streams. Hello from Huntsville, Alabama, Rocket City, USA. Thank you for joining. That was awesome. I've always wanted to visit there. I've been to Alabama, but not Huntsville specifically. Dothan, Alabama. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a very small area. All right, so this is a desktop and mobile HTML5 game framework. We went through the initial tutorial on that, and that's what we're going to kind of rob from. A lot of the knowledge that we're going to use for this is from, whoops. And, whoops, sorry, close a couple things here. Sorry about this. There we go. Now we're good. So in previous streams, we did a tutorial in Phaser to build kind of a basic Phaser game. We're going to rob a lot of stuff out of that, and we're going to consult ChatGPT for things that we get stuck on, and we're just going to try to build something that's kind of cool. So now we have, for our node modules, we have Phaser in here. What we need to do is create an index.html file. This is going to be the entry point for our application. And I have the HTML boilerplate plugin here that I love, that I use with Visual Studio Code. And this will be kind of our, we don't need this or this, but this will be our starting point for the game. And as I mentioned, we're going to create a game.js. That's going to be our actual phaser file. And we're going to include, let's see, script. And I'm using the tab 9 auto completion tool. I'm going to copy the path to phaser here. And then one thing I like to put in here, and this is from the phaser tutorial, is I like to put in this body margin 0. So we're using serve, which is a program. So you do npm-i or npm-i serve. And that's what I'm using to serve this up. It's just a basic, very basic HTML server that goes to localhost 3000, which is where we will be. So let's say localhost 3000. This is going to be our game screen, which right now shows nothing. So let's make it show something. So we'll go into our game.js here, and we want to create a config object. And so we did this in the last couple of tutorials. We've worked on this config object. I'm definitely getting a little bit better at it. Kind of understanding how it works, things like that. But this config object is going to be the very start of our phaser game. So we want to do a type phaser auto, and as you can see, the autocomplete is already working for that. Width of our window is going to be 800. Our height, if I can figure out how to spell height, it's going to be, looks 640. This one says 600, but the autocomplete said 600, but we want 640. And a quick tech check. Okay, cool. We are rolling. Hello, everybody in the chat. Lots of chat today, which is pretty awesome. I always like that. If you have any questions or anything about what we're doing, feel free to drop them in the chat. Now, if we look at this, so I have, like I said, I have tab 9 going, and it does a lot of autocomplete for you. And so in tab 9, it knows kind of the basic setup for these phaser games. I've noticed a lot of phaser autocomplete. Hi, Dave. Yes, this will be online later. I will send the link. We are recording this on YouTube. Can we define multiple windows in the same game space? I don't actually know the answer to that, so let's just look it up really quick before we get rolling. Multiple windows in same space, phaser.js. And is it possible to run 2 or more Phaser 3 games on the same web page? Some JS file. And it looks here, it looks like game 1 works, or game 2 works, but game 1 doesn't. And it says you can put them in iframes. So yeah, the answer to that is maybe. I'm not really sure. It looks like you can do it with iframes. What would be the use case for that? If you wanted to do multiple windows, what are you thinking? Here we need to create our scene. And our scene, as we can see with the autocomplete, we need preload, create, and update. Those are pretty much mandatory for our scene. So this is our basic setup. We're doing phaser auto, which means it'll do WebGL because I'm running it in this browser. 800 by 640. We want the default physics for arcade. We want a gravity value of 300, and the reason we're doing that is because this is a platformer. So we want gravity to kind of push down. And debug for now is false. And I'm trying to remember. format code key. It's different here. All right, let me check something here really quick. Okay. I will address that one later. So this is our object. And as we can see by the autocomplete, it already knows we're creating a phaser game here. Tab 9 does. So it says var game equals new phaser.game loading in that config, which that is what we want. Let's see what our game is showing right now. As you can see, it's showing nothing. So we need to create a few functions here. We need to do a function preload, and it's function create and function update. And it's already trying to preload assets in there, which is what we're going to create next. Now I have a set of assets that I've downloaded. We're not going to draw everything today, but here it's called Pixel Adventure 1. It's free. It has a suggested donation, which I donated when I initially downloaded it, and I would suggest you do also. But this is a free set of characters and terrain and all these kinds of objects that you can use in your game, and we're going to attempt to use those today. But the first thing I really need is a background, and I need a background of 800 by 640. So I've got Photoshop opened here. We're going to say 800 by 640. I'm going to make a pretty basic background today. And it looks like I have the Pluralsight colors loaded up there. And I think this is going to be the light part of our sky, going down to dark part of our sky. Now the big question is, do we want it dark at the top? Or yeah, I think this looks good. So I think this is what we're going to use for our background image right here. Pretty simple. We don't have any clouds or anything yet. Maybe I have clouds in, let's just check really quick. See if we have a cloud in this library, because maybe. Points, fruits, main characters, menu, other, dust particle, shadow, transition. Doesn't look like this is our terrain map that we're going to be using here soon. Traps. Yeah, so I don't think we have any clouds, so we don't really need clouds. Honestly, we'll just make this cool like background image thing going on here. And wow, we've got a lot of viewers. Just doing my little tech check here. We've got a ton of people watching on LinkedIn. Looks like the most people watching on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching. Need to make sure this is muted, of course. Got some people on Twitch. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in. A lot of people on YouTube. Very awesome. So I'm going to take this, quick export as PNG. Obviously, I was involved with some Pluralsight stuff earlier. Let's see, what did we call this? Oh, we called it Phaseboy. We're going to make a new folder called Assets. And we're going to call this sky.png. Hello, Surly Dev. Thank you for coming in. Twitch is where the cool kids hang out, for sure. I love Twitch, and we always stream on Twitch, so that's why I always tell people to follow us on Twitch, because that's where we're going to be like all the time. So we need to preload this sky image in here. So we'll do this, and this is from our, we know this from our previous tutorial that we took on how you load in assets. And of course, tab 9 says, you want to load in sky with sky PNG. I have no idea how it knew that, but yeah. Assets, sky PNG, and we're going to name this sky. So let's see what our little page looks like now. And we don't have sky yet. But that is okay. We need to, in create, we need to add the image. So this add image, and once again, our autocomplete is helping us. We're using 400 by 300 because that's centering the image, and the image is sky. And actually it should be 320, I believe. It's probably a more accurate center here. And let's see if our sky is loaded up. Let's save. This add image. Gracefully shutting down. It doesn't look like it's updating, so let's make sure. Oh, we need to include game.js. That's probably why it's not doing anything. We need to say assets game.js. Now it should load up something. Let's check our console. Game.js is 404 because it is not located in the assets folder. There we go. Sweet. So now we have our sky, our background. So this is basically like a background image, the one that we just created in Photoshop, and we're going to load this up. And this is going to be the initial screen where we do our stuff. And we know that this is a canvas. Let's see if we can maybe center it. Margin, left auto, margin right auto. Let's see if that centers our canvas at all. It doesn't. That's okay. We can deal with that later. Now the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to go into our assets here and we're going to make a tile map. So that would be under terrain. We have this terrain file, and if you look at it, this is a tile map. And what we want to do is break this up so that we can use these little individual pieces to build our worlds. And so this is something that's a little bit new to us. However, we'll figure it out. Just drag that over to assets. Perfect. Now we've got terrain PNG in here. And I'm using an application called Tiled to do this. This is a pretty popular application with Phaser developers. It's very cool. We can basically do a new project. We're going to save it here in our Phaseboy. We can just save it in the web thing. I don't really care. Ideally, you probably wouldn't because you wouldn't want to publish it with the game, but it's fine. So we have Phaseboy here. Where is our assets folder? That I don't know. Seems like it should have the assets folder there, but now here we want to do a new map. We're going to do orthogonal and CSV, and we need to figure out how many tiles this needs to be. So if we're 800 by 640, we're going to do 16 pixel tiles. So we need to bump this up to 50, bump this up to 40. There we go. Now we have 800 by 640 pixels. I can't really zoom in on that to show it, but yeah, that's what we're looking at here. Hello from India. Hello. Thank you for joining. So now we have 800 by 640, 16 by 16. Let's click OK. this represents our screen right here. So what we want to do is put some stuff on here that we can then generate a tile map and then load it onto our screen. Tile layer format, CSV, okay. Now we want to do a new tile set. We're going to call this terrain. We're going to browse into our assets. We're going to load this. Now we have tile width of 16 by 16. This should work. Now we're going to set our tile set. This is an asset kind of, but basically this tile set is just something that you open up with tiled. So this is a part of the project. You open up with tiled so that you can make changes. So actually, instead of, I was going to do project stuff, but we'll just put it in the assets. Doesn't really matter. And now we have our terrain tile set here. And when we load it up, we can see it here, and we can click on these and drag right over here. So this is what I want to use for the ground. I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is how we're going to make the ground look. And this has a very like kind of Mario Brothers 2 feel to it, which I like. But for now, we're just going to put the ground in here. Just drag that across. And this looks like we have the ground. We can even add in some other stuff here. We can add in some of this wood, stone, things like that. Maybe we'll do that just for fun. We'll put in this. We'll just put in a block here. And I wonder if I can just copy and paste. Probably not. Oh yeah, we could do a big select here and. All right, this looks good. So we're going to save this. TMX here as terrain TMX, because we're going to want to come back and open this thing. Now let's export our assets, and we're going to export it into JSON. We're going to call this terrain.json. Now what this does is it does a JSON listing. Actually, we'll open it up just to check it out. And that just draws a big giant matrix, and each of these are mapped to an image on that tile set. So see, we have 29 and then 30, 30, 30, 30. So index 30 is that piece with the little green grass on the top of it. And this is what we modify to modify things and make changes to that layout. So this thing looks good. And we can modify that by hand if we'd like to. But it's easier if we just open it up in tiled and do it. So now let's see if we can get this thing on here. So in preload, we need to load up both the image, the sprite map that has all of the stuff on it, and that JSON file that we did. So we'll do this, load image. We're going to call this tiles. I guess we could call it tile set, but whatever. And then for this, we're going to say not tile set PNG. We're going to name this terrain 16 by 16 PNG. And that loads up our tiles. And then this load tile map. Is it? Yeah, tiled map, tiled JSON. And then in here for assets, we're going to say terrain.json. So now we've loaded up that JSON file. We've loaded up the sprite file. If anyone has any questions, feel free to throw them my way. Twitch is where the cool kids hang out. Very much so. So in create, we need to make a map. And actually you can see right here, var map, this make tile map, key map. Yeah, that'll work. That will work. So this map, we don't want to make tile map, we want to add tile map, right? This make tile map. So that one is correct. And then we want to make a tile set. And by doing that, we're going to add tile set image, terrain 16 by 16, but we named this, let's see, I'm going to call this just terrain. And this tiles, of course, goes back to here, to our tile set. So now we'll, let's throw some comments in here. Background image. Tile map stuff. Oh, and we need to create a layer out of this. So we say map, create layer, ground tile set. Sure. See what that looks like. And still not loaded. Because, let's see, tiles. Tile set is proper. That is. Key is map. All right, so what did I mess up here? We're adding a tile set image. Here, creating a layer named ground. From this tile set, which comes from this map, add tile set image, name terrain, let me key map. Actually, we'll name this tile map. So it makes a little bit of sense. And let's go back here. And see what we're messed up on. 404 not found for that. That's fine. Cannot read properties of undefined. Reading 2. So it's somewhere in the initialization of the tile map I'm messing up. Reading 2. So we've got our background image, we've got our tile map. This make tile map from map. Key is tile map. That makes sense. Then we got to add our tile set image. Maybe this is where I've messed up. Maybe it's this image. But somewhere I've typoed here. So this make add tile set image, tiles. I'm going to call this, let's see, tile map. Assets. Or that's right, I called this one tile map. So this is going to be tiles. Then we load tile map, tiled JSON. Maybe that's where I'm messing up here. Load tile map JSON. No, that should be correct. package, then var map, this make tile map. And our key is going to be tile map. So I'm looking at my notes. That looks fine. Terrain needs to come from tiles. And yeah, this should work. Cannot read properties. So I'm going to do what every good programmer does, and we're going to Google this. And I'll make sure and put in phaser in here so it's and we'll see what our issue is. Separate tiles image. Closed off after premal. This looks like version 2, which isn't going to help us. Find. Function create layer. So it really doesn't like 2 for some reason in there. And I'm not finding a lot of good information about this. Hello for JSON. Yeah, let's try exporting that file set again. So we have all these things in here. Export as terrain TMX. Export as terrain JSON. Save. Yes, we want to replace it. Access is denied. Probably because I'm running serve. Let's try that again. Export as terrain JSON. Okay, now it's available. And I'll make sure I got the right name in here. Let's copy path. Assets terrain.json. And we have our assets terrain 1616 PNG. Let's make sure that path is correct. Copy path. Yep. That path is correct. So we are loading up the sky, we're loading up the terrain, and we're loading up the terrain JSON. Tile map, key tile map. Add tile set images of tiles. Ground layer is going to be this tile set. And I don't think this one has to be specified like this, but I'm going to try explicitly. Oh, it would help if I typed in serve. And still not loading up. So let me check. Let's see. This absolutely should be doing this. So we have in create. We're going to make this constant, by the way. This one also. We want those to be constant. Then map create layer, ground layer of tile set, which is this one. I love getting stuck. So we're going to copy all these out just to see if we get any error messages in our console before that. Audio context not allowed to start. That's fine. WebGL. Yep, these are all perfectly fine. We don't necessarily need info warnings there. Okay, and then we'll try to load up a tile map. Let's see if any errors pop up there. There we go. Cannot read properties of undefined. So our key of tile map here is where our problem is. However, maybe we'll try specifying it like this, but we shouldn't have to because we've loaded up other assets in the past that way, but nope, that didn't fix it. So this is where the problem is making this map. Let's make tile map, key of tile map. Let's just try key of map. Key map. I didn't think there would be. So there must be something wrong with my terrain JSON that it does not like. It's failed undefined. And looks like our error is right where we think it's going to be. Back to our console. I think I want the console down here. Why won't it drag down? That's fine. So this is where our problem is right here, this make tile map. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT for the answer to this, because I've been using it a lot lately for text prediction. It's pretty awesome for code generation, stuff like that. So we're going to just ask what this error message means. Got it loaded up here. In Phaser. This is more of a Google type query. However, it's going to go out and rip something from some documentation. Error mean in Phaser.js. The error means you're trying to access property of an object currently undefined or null. In Phaser.js, this error might appear if you're trying to access the third element of an array, but that array is not yet defined or is empty. So we could do a console log and see see here, this make tile map, key tile map. Add tile set image. Maybe that's something that I need to do. Tile map. Add image. Maybe it does have to be named terrain 1616 because I think that's what it's named. Okay, I think I know what it is. I think that's what it's named in the JSON file. And not quite. Which is fine. Let's see, const tile. It still doesn't like that. Let's see if we're still getting this error message. And we are. Uncaught type error. Undefined reading 2. Let's jump into our terrain JSON. Look and see what we have here. We've got all our data. ID. The name in here is tile layer 1, so maybe that's what I need to look for. As you can tell, I'm still quite a beginner at this. No map data found for key tile 1. So it says no key was found. No compression going here. Object, tiled version, tile sets. We're still going to try loading this out, even though it says it can't find the key. We're still just going to see if this loads up. And it does not. No map data found for key tile layer 1. Let's say maybe, what key would this be? Somehow, I think we've messed up on this part. Custom properties, terrain. And this one, the tile set's name is terrain. So let's try that. What key is it looking for? That's the question. Terrain. What key are you looking for? We go here. This is our tile layer 1. We're going to call that terrain. And then we're going to save and export. Terrain.json, yes. I need to stop the server. And we'll try this again. Export as terrain.json. Yes. I'll go back here. This should be, oops. Should be the right key. Serve. Nope. No map data found for key terrain. Which all that did is change the name of this tile. So, our tile set. I would like to just name this terrain. And this should go back to tiles, which is up here. So we've loaded up tiles. Then we created tile map, which is our JSON here. Maybe this is the key that I need. Nope. So undo that. So where does this key get used? Let's see, tiles, load image tiles, this make tile map. Try this key. So yeah, that's where I'm a little bit confused, is I don't know what key they're looking for, what on earth they're talking about here. Like, we're searching for a key. Make tile map. We're going to say, how does this work? Phaser JavaScript. This make tile map is a method provided by the Phaser.js game engine that creates a new tile map object. It's a grid-based representation of game world. Each cell can be assigned a specific type. This method takes in one or more arguments that specify the properties of the tile map. The most common argument is a string that defines the layout of the tiles. Each cell in the grid. See, the string typically contains characters that represent different types of tiles, as walls, floors, and obstacles. Here's an example of how to use this make tile map to create a tile map. And that looks exactly like what we're doing here. This make tile map. The key of the tile set that it will use. So, adding our app background image. We've got this stuff going in preload. The key of the tile map that it will use. So it should be that one right there. I mean, that would make sense. Because we're saying key tile map of this tile map. Which, for one reason or another, is not valid. As we can see here. Read through. Yeah, this is interesting. But I love interesting problems. Is there a way to capture what exactly, like, we can put it in debug mode. That's right. Debug true. Maybe this will give us a little bit more information about what it's looking for. Does not appear to. Let's make extra sure that our problem is where we think the problem is. Just here. We're going to try all of this stuff and then catch any errors that come out of it. Say catch error, console log error. Actually, instead of log, we're going to say console error. And it's a type error. These are undefined. It doesn't like it being a literal. Nope, that is not the issue. Let's see. So I will keep digging into this and do a quick tech check here really quick. Perfect. So we are throwing an error now, at least in this stuff. And we're pretty sure it's in this make tile map. Let's double check for sure. Cannot read properties. Key. So let me look at this once again here. We're loading up this load image tile, this tile map, tiled JSON, assets, terrain.json. So these things appear to be correct. And then for some reason it doesn't want to make a tile map with that key of tile map. Once again, we're going to ask ChatGPT for some code. Kind of using ChatGPT like Google right now, right? But I'm just double checking my stuff. We'll see if other people's code is what we're looking for. We're almost out of time. I really wanted to load this up before running out of time, but that's fine. Load your tile map data and tile set image. So let's just copy this and see what it looks like different from our preload. Looks the same. Except maybe the order, that's the only thing that's different. This one loads up the JSON first, but that shouldn't matter. Yep. So we're loading an image, tiles, and then the tiles JPEG. My map. Let's just call this my map, just for the heck of it. And we'll switch the order, but these, I don't think this should matter at all. Switching the order of those two things should not matter. And it doesn't. No map data. Okay, that's because we changed that key. Just fine. Change it here. And yeah, the order does not matter. So what's the next part? Create a new tile map object in your create function using the thisMakeTileMap method. So we will copy and paste this code directly. And it looks exactly the same. So we've got that. Then add a tile set to your tile map using the map add tile set image. This method takes in the name of the tile set you loaded in step 1, which is my tiles. So once again, copying and pasting. Const map, my tiles, my tiles. Line in your create layer method. Add tiles to your tile map, layer put out. Okay, we don't need put out yet. Now we're copying and pasting what is supposed to be correct code and still having a problem. Style set. Const layer, map create layer. And I don't think this is going to make a difference because we're still not loading up that initial tile map for whatever reason. So there is something wrong with this, I believe. Terrain, name is terrain. We're going to call this terrain map. So it's not as confusing. Terrain JSON, we need to go in here, shut our server down, shut it down. Sure, why not? Terrain JSON, let's change, I just want to change that name and we'll change it to terrain map. Exporting this as JSON map files, yes. Start up the server. See what our error is. Cannot read properties of undefined. So for this one, instead of my map, we named it terrain map. So now we're calling it terrain map. Yeah, I don't know why on earth this thing has such a hard time with it. I'm clearly doing something very wrong. I just don't know what that thing is right now. JSON, this make tile map. And this is supposed to go in preload, so tile map, JSON, this load image. I switched the loading order, which I didn't need to do. Let's see what the heck is going on. Fun time problem solving. So const map, this make tile map, key, terrain map, add tile set image. What did we name this image? This one is terrain. But that's a TSX file. That shouldn't even matter. Map class, infinite stagger, tile lay format, compression level. Compression level should be none. Access denied, that's fine. So this is our tile layer. It's terrain map. Terrain map is a tile layer. Terrain map, terrain map. Add tile set image. Let's call this terrain. Still can't read it. Still undefined. And we're using code here, so that we're generated in ChatGPT. Totally using this code and still having an issue. And I think it has something to do with this tile map that I've generated here. I think there's just something going on with this that I'm not understanding. Somewhere I am misunderstanding this. So what I'm going to do is recreate all of it. So I don't really know what I did wrong. We're just going to delete it all. Close tiled. Boom. Move to recycle bin. Start fresh. It won't take very long. Yep, because I deleted it. Yep, that's fine. New project. Phase Boy tiled project. And we need to make a new map. Orthogonal. CSV. Fixed. Size 16, 50 by 40. So it remembered all of our stuff from the last time that we did this. So it's remembering our 16 by 16. We're at 800 by 640. Click OK. This is going to be our file. Now we need to create, we'll save this as Boy TMX. Now we need to do a new tile set. This tile set, we're going to put embed in map. It's going to be terrain tile. Browse the source, load it up. Okay, now we've got our stuff here. We're going to create the road again. Oops. Oh, why did I do that? Terrain tiles. I don't know. Naming doesn't matter as long as I get it all correct when I get it in there. And I'm going to draw the ground again. It's kind of hard to keep the mouse straight, apparently, for me. Okay, now we have the ground. So the ground is here. We did some blocks, right? So we'll put in some more blocks. And now we have a tile set. Phase box, is that what I called it? Should be Phase Boy, but that's all right. So now we have this. Let's export it as JSON. We're going to call this terrain.json and save it. We'll go here, go to serve. Let's check all our stuff here. Just real quick, we're going to see if it loads. It does not. That's fine. Properties of the errors much lower down now. So now we'll have this here. Terrain JSON. We did not name it. We didn't name this. So I thought for sure that I did, but okay. This is our terrain.json. Tile at. We don't care about put tile at right now because we're going to, instead of put tile at, we're going to do map create layer from that tile set. So tile set, tile set. Valid tile layer names, tile layer 1. Oh, what on earth did I name this thing? So go in here, objects, tile layer 1. I'll bet you that right there needs to be put in now, since it is specifically asking for it. It's going to have to be this one, tile layer 1. Oh, that's invalid. Invalid tile set image terrain. Okay, that's fine. That's because I've changed these things all over the place. Now we're getting a little farther. No data found for tile set tiles. So add that to that tile map. Good gosh. All right. Clearly this is our tile layer 1. We're going to name this ground. And then we're going to export it. We need to crash the server again while I try to descramble my brain and figure out what I'm doing here. So this is named ground. So loud tiled map, tiled JSON. We're going to name it ground. Ground. Tile set image is going to be tiles. So let's see, tile map. We did add tile set image. Tiles. Tiles is up here. Then we need to create a layer. Here, we're going to name that ground. For map create layer. And that's right, we wanted to do map create layer. And this is going to be ground. From tile set. This should work. I honestly don't know why this isn't working. Well, at least I know why that part's not working. All right. Already got a 404. I noticed there. Avicon. Okay, that's fine. Now let's look at our last one. No data found for tile set terrain map. And that's our tile set image. So somewhere in here, I have messed this up. Tile layer is named ground, because that's what this is the ground. That's what our terrain.json is using. So let's just step back a little bit here. Loading up an image, tiles. Where is our problem right now? No data found for tile set terrain map. So that's this one. Tile set image tiles. Change this to tiles also. And see if it says it can't find it for tiles. Yeah, can't find it for tile set tiles. Let's map, make taste it, key ground. Tile set image. Add tile set image. This one. Tiles. Right now I'm doing that spaghetti thing, right? Just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Seeing if I'm just naming something improperly or what. Hello, thank you for joining the live stream. We are right in the middle of trying to figure out what in the heck I'm doing wrong. I am having problems loading this stuff up. So I'm going to start all over again. I'm going to blast all this stuff out. We're going to steal the code directly from ChatGPT or Google or somewhere. Step through it. So tile list load tile map JSON ground. So this is going to be, and we'll just make it terrain, just to keep it kind of so it makes sense. JSON instead of terrain and ground. Terrain, assets terrain.json. Okay. Load this, see what comes up on our console. Okay, so just these regular warnings that we're used to getting all the time. Tile map stuff. We're gonna start this over again one more time. And I don't know if I can do that, but I would like to just delete these things. Delete this TMX file. Delete this JSON file. Start it all over again. I'm going to call this phaseboy again. Okay. New map. As we did before, we need 800 by 640, which we did before, or we could do infinite. That's kind of cool. Now our tile layer format, I'm just double checking everything. It's orthogonal, yes. Tile layer format, CSV, yes. Render order, write down, yes. 50 tiles by 40 tiles, 800 by 640, 16 by 16, okay. So we're gonna save this as phaseboy. Now we need to create a new tile set. We'll make sure embed and map is checked. We want based on tile set image. We're going to call this terrain tile set, just to make dang sure we're calling the right thing. So we're going to load up this terrain here. Okay, 16 by 16, okay. There we go. Save it. Now, as before, we have the screen, and this grid represents, of course, our screen. So if we do this right, which I haven't yet, this should load up as a new layer on our phaser game. Drag this over. Hit save. We just have the ground right now. We're going to export this as JSON. So we're going to say terrain.json. Save it. Okay. Now this assets thing, let's run serve and make sure that all the assets are loading like it should be loading. Everything but the favicon. We don't care about the favicon at all. We've got the adding the image for the sky, which is cool. Now we got to do the tile map stuff. So for here, we're going to load in the image. Terrain 16 by 16. Got that loaded. Now we need to try const map, this make tile map key of terrain. Okay, and this is where we've had the problem. This is where it keeps breaking every single time. And it is not breaking right now. So cool. That's a first. Now we need to do a tile set. So const tile set, map data, add tile set image, terrain tiles. No data found for tile set terrain. Now we called it terrain tile set, right? Somewhere in here. Yeah, terrain tile set. So let's see if terrain tile set works. And that looks like it does work. So now it's loaded up this image. So the last thing we have to do is just create a layer. Map, create layer, tile set 0, 0. No, we don't need the 0, 0, just the tile set. Let's see if it actually creates a layer. It does not. Invalid title layer name. Map layer, ID ground. We do need tile layer 1. So for this one, we'll do tile layer 1. So I think it was getting a little confused with the layer names. Jeez, and then it works. So I don't know exactly what was going on before, but we got it to work. So this is an example of a tile map, which clearly I'm still struggling with a lot. But we can draw this up and we can make sort of a level out of it. Let's do that. Let's go back in here and let's create just a couple of blocks like we wanted to create before. We can maybe we can make something to jump up onto. And let's save it. Now every time you make a change to these, you have to export it again into terrain JSON. You got to make sure that serve is turned off. And then export to terrain JSON. Yes, I'd like to replace it. And we go to serve again. And now it's updated with these things. So now we need to put a player on here. And we did this with a previous live stream that we did. And I'm going to rob some of that code out of there so you don't have to watch me type it over and over, right? So we'll go in here somewhere. I have the old code from where we did it before. Book. We need to go to repos. And I apologize for that little mess. I don't know why that took so long and what I was messing up. I'm going to go back and watch the video again and see if I can catch it. But I'm still a beginner at this, so still working on it. Phaser tests. So in our thing here, we've got, let's see, got some main characters. Pink Man, Masked Dude, Virtual Guy. I like Virtual Guy. Pink Man's kind of cool. Ninja Frog. Of course I want to be Ninja Frog. So it looks like there's a lot of animations in here that we would have to contend with. But it's fine. What idle? Why are there so many? He must like jump up and down or something. There's jump. What is wall jump? Wall jump, hit idle, jump, fall, run. I think for now we're just going to do run. So we're going to copy run 32, 32 PNG into our Phaser assets folder. Repos, Phaser boy. I guess I just called it Phase Boy. Paste this, and we're going to rename it to run. So I don't like spaces and all that weird stuff, so we're just going to rename it to run PNG. Now, last time we did this, we had to split up. So we had to do a sprite sheet. And we're just going to copy that style of doing stuff and put that sprite sheet in there. So the sprite sheet is what I just had loaded up on the screen. And we can even name this, instead of run, we can rename it Ninja Frog .png. We can see we have our Ninja Frog. So now up here in preload, we need to preload that Ninja Frog as a sprite sheet. So this load sprite sheet. We could name it dude. Actually, that wouldn't be bad. Ninja Frog .png, and then frame width of 32 and frame height of 32, I'm assuming. .32 frame height. Now I don't know why the auto suggest put in 48, because I don't think it is. I think it's 32. But we'll find out for sure when we try to make this Ninja Frog work. Let's see. So now we have the sprite sheet, then we need to add it as a sprite. And the place that we add it as a sprite is in create again. So we have all this try-catch stuff that we don't really need, because essentially it will just be an uncaught error at this point, but we don't care because we're just playing around with this stuff. Tile map, create the player. Look at that. Autocorrect knew exactly what I was trying to do. For this, we need to say player equals, there we go, this physics add sprite. What size is that sprite? Ninja Frog. open to the side. Can't actually tell how big it is yet. So we're going to just say, dude. And we're going to open it up really quick with Photoshop, see what the size is. Repos. Faceboy. Assets. Ninja Frog. So it looks like we have quite a few. Yeah, we have a lot of quite a few frames of animation here. But our image size is 384 by 32. If we can't get this to work, we might just bring in the character from that first tutorial that we did. I mean, it's not the worst idea in the world, right? Oh, Jason Langsdorff. Shout out. That's awesome. Rated with a party of 23 people. That is friggin' awesome. Thank you so much for bringing more people to the stream. Very cool. And yeah, if you're not following Jason, you should definitely be following Jason. Does a lot of really cool stuff on the stream, on his stream. And he just rated our stream, which I think is really, really cool. Thank you again, Jason, for doing that. I wasn't even watching the chats there, so maybe it happened 10 minutes ago. I don't really know. But thank you, and I appreciate that. So we have the player and its settings, and then we had a bunch of animation stuff. Yeah, see, Twitch is where the cool kids come. Exactly. If you're not following us on Twitch, you should follow us on Twitch. Always. We do cool stuff here. David Neal also does a stream on Thursdays. It's really, really cool. So I'm going to copy in some of this stuff here, our player animations, and I'm just going to copy this right out of our last, and this is up in Create still. We're just copying this out of the last tutorial that we did in a previous stream. We're probably going to have to change it a little bit. But our player animations, turning, walking left, and walking right. That's right. You don't have to be a cool kid to watch. We'll make you cool when you get here. Very cool. So we're just going to snag these things, and we're going to see how they work out. But as we can see here, we need to create a collider, and the player looks not correct. That's fine. Not a big deal. We will fix it. Same thing with some of these like input events. We're just going to copy and paste a lot of this code. So in this animations thing here, we're probably going to change the frames. So like turn, left, right, all of these. We're going to probably change these because they're a little bit different. But we'll do that as soon as we can get the dude to not fall through the floor to start with. And we want to change some stuff here. Let's see. So we have some movements. We got our animation. Now we need to load in. So we load in our cursors up here in Create. We only need to load cursors once. However, the rest of the stuff goes in Update because Update's called, I don't know, 20 times a second or whatever. And that will check our stuff here. So what that's going to do is check if cursor left is down, then we want to move the player left and play the left animation. If right is down, we want to move them right, etc. Let's see what this looks like. Probably isn't going to work still. It's close though. Look at the animations happening when I press left. It's close. So we need to add a collider. And the way we did that was first we added a platform. Something like that. Yeah, static group. And here's something I'm going to have to Google because I don't know. Add collider to tile map. Oh, phaser. Tile map collision phaser. Here's some examples. We can check some examples and figure it out. That, I think, is going to be the best way for us to do this. Probably. Maybe. Left click to drop balls. Dink, 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 dink. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Let's go to edit. Let's see how they did that. This is really cool, this Phaser Sandbox. I'm going to sign up for this and add some stuff to it for sure, because this is pretty cool. Gravity 1. This loads sprite sheet. So they're loading a sprite sheet of balls. Image. Kenny platformer. Tiled map. Smacked. Well, this tile set. Okay, that's all pretty much the same as us. Set the colliding tiles before converting the layer to matter bodies. That is interesting. So in map, it says set collision by exclusion. Set colliding tiles before converting the layer to matter bodies. Then you convert the layer. Any colliding tiles will be given a matter body. If a tile has collision shapes from tiled, these will be loaded. If not, a default rectangle body will be used. This body will be accessible via matter body. Huh, okay. So we're going to try to use this same code here in our tile map to see if we can add some collision detection there. And this is in create up here. Map set collision by exclusion. And our layer is going to be named something different, right? Imagine. Let's see here. Let's go back to properties of undefined world. Matter dot. Let's see. We will convert this tile map layer here by saying layer equals, and convert that. Oh, we're going over here. Uncaught type error, undefined reading world. So where is world defined in here? Gravity, enable sleep true. Doesn't look like world is defined in here either. This is phaser 3. Yeah, I don't see world defined in here either. Set bound. And that's what's complaining about. It says cannot read properties of undefined, reading world. So map. First, let's see which statement this is coming from. So layer equals map create layer tile set. And it's right here, convert tile map layer, which this should be our layer. Let's double check the code that we're stealing from and see where their layer comes from. It comes from a different type of create layer, looks like. 00 tile set 00. Well, I don't know what that does. However, I'm willing to try it. I forgot the var in there. That's probably what the issue was. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so I'm going to create the layer a little bit different here. I'm going to create it the same way that this person did. And we'll comment that out. That was our previous way of doing it. And tile set, okay. Let's see if it likes that a little bit more. It does not. And in fact, our player is not falling now because it's breaking here where we're trying to set this collision. We're trying to convert the tile map layer. So let me save this. There's our little player. It's falling off. So it is definitely right here. It doesn't care about the set collision by exclusion. It just doesn't like to convert this tile map layer that I have here. And I don't know the difference between the code I had here and the code I had before. So I will just say that it's on my list of stuff for sure to research and learn about. And just looking at some of the chat here. Okay. So we added in our dude, and our dude flies in there. The problem that we're having is right here. This matter world. Maybe it's because we're not running this within a class. Nope. Still not defined. And let me check. So we'll put this back in. Let's see what some of the options are for this matter. We have worlds. Maybe world comes from something else. Let's go look at that code a little bit more here. For our last 20 minutes, we'll see if we can make this thing work. Parent, phaser example. So this is the first mention of this world, right? Can this matter world? But what else was added in here? Got new phaser game trick. Sprite sheet, this create layer. All of these things are the same as what we're doing. 800 by 600 default matter, gravity, enable sleep true, scene preload, create, update, delete. Don't see anything super different from what we're doing. Except for that. Physics default matter. So let's try matter instead of arcade. Aha. That's probably what we're messing up here, right? So now we have matter, gravity, true. Let's see, enable sleep equals true, which I don't know what that means, but let's see if this will make it so it knows what matter world is. It's still saying property undefined, like matter is undefined. So this matter world, I'm going to take this part out. Matter's still not defined. Default matter, okay. Try serve again, restart serve to make sure that everything's being loaded. Matter is not defined at initialize create. I don't know if matters is a part of I mean, it must be. So let's look at another example and see another example of adding collider. Trying to create a platform game using tiled to create my maps. I've made my map and exported it. I can make the map appear in a game, but my sprite falls through the floor. So this is our exact problem, and we're seeing it here on Stack Overflow. Go through tutorials for hours, and I've tried everything under the sun with no luck. I even created a new collision layer in tiled. And then this one says, if anyone's looking for the solution in Phaser 3, tile set images. Okay, we're going to steal this code, but not all of it is going to be used. We're going to roll this back because this didn't do anything for us. So we're going to try to just keep it with this arcade style that we've been working with. We're going to keep that the way it was. And then down here, we're going to get rid of this. And all that stuff. So this make tile map key map. He puts in tile map. Nope, we don't need to do that. Tile set. What is different? Nothing is different. There. Var tile layer. This map creates static layer walls. 0 and 0. So I don't know if we're going to do that yet, but we do have our layer, and we can name this tile underscore layer because that actually does make a little more sense. Then we're going to say tile layer set collision by exclusion -1. Physics add collider between the player and the tile layer. This feels like it will work. This looks like colliders that we've created in previous streams, and it does not. Player is not defined. Okay. That is because, as we know, our player has not been defined yet. It's right here. So we're going to do the collider. And we'll create the player first. So sky, the tile map. Let's see, set collision by exclusion. We'll just create the player here. We can organize this stuff a little differently later. For right now, I think this is okay, but it's kind of bugging me the way that thing is set up. So now we got our player, and it is absolutely colliding with things. However, our player looks silly because it has this pink box around it, whatever direction I'm pushing. Now this has to be somehow a problem with the way I'm laying this out, right? So actually, we can go in like this. Oops, I guess we'll go back here. What I'm trying to do here. There we go. This looks a little bit better. Let's try, actually you can't really see the code when I do that very well, so we're just not going to do that for now. If I were working by myself, I would do that, but this is our little phaser object. We've got collision detection. Collision detection's working by adding that little collider. Thankfully, we didn't really have to do anything. Oh, how cool. This. So we got to figure out why that, and actually I'll go to ChatGPT and say, what does a purple line around a sprite mean in phaser? Mostly because I went to ChatGPT and searched for something silly like this on a past stream, and it worked great. A purple line, whoops, it worked better than Google, which it's a different tool than Google. You shouldn't use ChatGPT as Google. Definitely avoid doing that. However, there are some cool things you can find. Purple line around a sprite in phaser typically indicates the sprite has been set to display its bounds. This is used during development. Oh, because we're in debug mode. That's right. See, that's where it debug equals false. That's where ChatGPT is just kind of cool. So that was for debug mode. Now, one thing I don't have is jump, but yeah, the running animation actually looks pretty decent. But let's dig in just a little bit deeper in that before we go to make sure we're doing this right. So generate frame numbers. We want to open this up, Ninja Frog, and look and see how many frames we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 total frames, which is more than the ones that we had with the code we started this, that we stole this from. Frame rate 10. Now this is when you're going left, you start at 0 and end at 3. So this is probably going to end at 6. I'm going to say probably start at 0. Let's just try that. And 5, let's say. Refresh it and see if what left looks like. Doesn't look right. And when you go off the screen, you're gone because there's no collider to stop you. So it's going off the screen and our little ninja frog is sinking. That's fine for now. So yeah, going backwards looks weird. Going forward looks a little weird. That's okay. We look closer at this to try to see, you know, kind of what it should look like. I'm guessing this is the resting one right here. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, both of those look about the same. But I'm going to say 5 is our center one. So we'll say 5. And then going left, maybe we should start at 5 and end at 0. Maybe that will make the animation look a little bit cooler. I can't really say what's wrong with it, but it just doesn't look right because, yeah, this one's almost like flapping. The frog is flapping its wings, which I think is perfectly fine. Pressing right. Start 5 and 10. Well, it looks a little bit better. That's fine. For now, I think it's okay. It's not super great, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of... I mean, we could do 0 to 10 for all of them, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 frames. And I think we could do like a start 5 and 0. That we could do start 0 and 12 when going left. And then that makes it look like it's... And I don't like the flapping arms thing, so... The jump, I don't mind, but yeah, flapping arms is weird. I think I'm going to go 0 to 5. 0 to 5 should be fine. For now, when we're going right, we could also just do 0 to 5. Let's try that frame rate. Increase that a little bit. So I'm not sure what frame rate this is actually supposed to be at, but that looks a little bit better. I like it. It's a little more realistic. I would like this character to be larger. That's something that we can work on in the future. Also, not able to jump. Oh, that's right. When we set turn, it's frame 5. All right, let's make sure that frame 5 is what we like. Nope, we don't like that. So turn should be something like... actually, yeah. 5 is probably the best one. Because the other ones are up in the air. So that's fine. The ninja frog is pretty fine. What about jumping? Let's see. Cursor's up, touching down. I believe jumping was spacebar in the demo game, but I don't see spacebar doing anything in this game. So we need to search through our old code, look for jump, see if we can add. Let's see, ground, there's our dude. True, left, turn right. Game over, return. Left is down, right is down, else. So this one down here, left is down, if right is down, else, turn. Cursor is down. Interesting. I don't see the jump. And the jump was definitely in the last game that we created. But I do not see the jump in the code. Turn right, left, create cursor keys. Checks to see if the player overlaps with any of the stars. Game over, left is down. Else, player set velocity, player and turn. Set velocity minus 330. Let's check cursors up really quick. I don't see where the jump is. And maybe it's in our config. Default arcade, gravity Y300, debug false, phaser auto, all of that stuff is what it should be. So, I don't really know why jump does not work. Search for jump. Maybe we can just modify this a little bit and say if the cursor's up, is down. There's our jump. Holy moly, we got some moon gravity going here. So we need to check to make sure it's not down. And we shouldn't be able to hold it. Because, yeah, that's a little wild. Let's see if the collision works here. It does. But, yeah, that's like a little rocket taking off. And that's not quite correct. So, look at something here really quick. In our previous code. Find all. That's the only one. So we are out of time, and I do have other stuff that I have to do. So this is where we landed today, basically. So in this stream, we created a background image. Well, we started with nothing, like nothing at all. And then we created a background image. We created a sprite map or tile map. We created a sprite, this little player. And yeah, we drew out some stuff with a sprite map. We put in the background. We put in this player, even though it jumps like Michael Jordan, but that's fine. And so we got all of this with this amount of code, which isn't very much. But we've got a start of a game that we can build. So one of the things I'll do is next week, we will load up this exact same game and start doing some more stuff. Oh, thank you, Seth. Yeah, so next week, we'll load up the same game. We'll keep working on it. We'll put some enemies in there. We'll work on the physics of the player a little bit because, yeah, I got so hung up with that tile layer stuff not working that I didn't really have time to throw in like enemies and things like that. But we'll throw in some enemies. We'll throw in some scoring, and just keep kind of working on this game. And we'll have this like neat little cool game that will be fun and awesome. But as I said, thank you everybody for coming. Follow us on Twitch because that's where we're going to be all day. So we might be on, several different platforms at any given time, but we're always on Twitch. Twitch is the place that we are, the place that we'll be. So I stream every Tuesday. David Neal streams every Thursday. And we've got some cool stuff coming up. So even though we're, on here live coding and building video games, there is some pretty cool stuff that we're going to be adding to our live stream here for events and stuff that you'll want to see also. So thank you all very much for joining, and I will see you next week, and we will keep working on these phaser games. I'm going to do a little bit of research and study on some of the things I messed up on so I can share that, and we can talk about that next week. We can talk about the stuff that I messed up on. So thank you all for coming.